Our next speaker is Michael Picone, who's going to talk to us about using the Federal Writers Project materials for the documentation of language in Louisiana.
Thank you, Tom, and everyone. Well, I am a victim of my own over-grandiose ambitions to try to run a conference and give a paper at the same conference. And it's a point of pride for me that I want to submit a paper when I go to a conference. Well, pride comes before a fall. Because I really, despite my best efforts, I was not able to fully flesh out by any stretch of the imagination the topic that I have proposed. What I'm going to do, I know that there's some level of interest about this, so I'm going to informally talk about what got me involved in my private research and some things about the Federal Writers Project documents that enact DISH, or the Northwestern State University of Louisiana. But then, if I have time, I'm going to switch to something kind of a recent hobby horse of mine. And so, people who already heard this, like Tom and Kevin and C.D., one of the leads go listen to something more interesting. I won't be around this time. So I'm going to probably end up switching and talking a little bit about my hobby horse, which is my beef with term floating at the end. But let me talk a little bit about how I got involved in archival research. I'm losing my voice because I didn't sleep at all last night. And I'm still doing receipts and coming back. I didn't have the time for it. At one point, I was visiting our special collections library here at the University of Alabama. And it so happened that during that visit, it was pointed out to me that the University of Alabama Special Collections Library houses the T.P. Thompson collection. What is special about that? The T.P. Thompson collection, who pitched it will know, is the head of our library. We just walked in. The T.P. Thompson collection is the first actually collection that's acquired by the University of Alabama for special collections. Upon this foundation of the Special Collections Library grew to where it is today. Well, T.P. Thompson was a wealthy Louisiana businessman. And he loved to collect documents about Louisiana, about history of Louisiana, and especially first edition works by all the Jesuits and explorers and so on who applied to the 60s when Louisiana and recorded itself. So we have all those in his collection in the library. He did collect a few manuscripts, not that much, but one was interesting to me. It's the original word list of Adrien Picone, right? French Choctaw word. Well, actually, more than French and English, and Choctaw, like the close which he did in his word list. But what happened was, I looked at this word list, and I found an extensive word list of 2 pages. I saw there were many different handwritings in there. And so then I was curious as to which part of it really belonged to Adrien Picone. And so that led me to the next step. So this is where I started sleuthing the archives a little bit. And so then I found out at Tulane, at the University, the Howard Tilton Memorial Library, they have correspondence and poems in the original hand of Adrien Picone. And so I went there and compared the handwriting of those documents with what I had at the here at our library, and I was able to determine that it was actually Adrien Well,